Another book I read was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I got recommended to me by my mom, my dad, and also um, in a lot of English classes. It's always in English classes, and it's always been recommended. And apparently, it's one of the American classics. So I thought it'd be good to read. Um, well, first thing I wanted to say is when I was reading this, the first two things I thought of. Number one was Nazi Germany, just overall in the book burnings they had there to try and mesmerize and manipulate all the Germans to Hitler's ideals, and that the past like isn't important and knowledge is too powerful, and how only the future is important. And number two, it reminded me of another book that is one of my favorite books ever, which is The Book Thief, and it reminded me of that and how how in some societies in some like time periods of the world how books were just looked down upon and even punishable, which I thought was really interesting. And I don't know, it was a good book. I thought a bit weird of a storyline how firefighters burn books. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. And then also like the neighbor that he comes up against, this teenager. It's interesting how she just kind of turns his life around, and or not really turns his life around, but makes him think of in different ways than he already has, because he's a firefighter, so all he's ever been told and trained to do is burn books, and it's interesting how she just makes him think differently and makes him consider how other things should be thought about in the world, and how you shouldn't be you shouldn't be like told what to do by one commodity or one government or even one person or one ideal or one thought, which I think is one of the best parts of this book, to be honest. And I don't know, I find it interesting also how he doesn't have any kids. I feel like that's part of the storyline, and how he thinks like that also might give him too much knowledge or whatever, or maybe that's just too much responsibility, and maybe he doesn't want to be a free thinking person like his neighbor, or liberating to others in his community. But overall, I thought it was an okay book. I give it about a 7 out of 10 because I don't really always read these kind of nonfiction, kind of strange books, somewhat fiction in a way. But it also reminded me a bit of Stephen King's writing, which made me like the book more. Like if it wouldn't have been written a certain way like it was, I don't think I would have liked it at all. Just the plot, and I don't know, it wasn't my favorite, but other than that, I thought it was okay. It was an interesting book to read. Opened your eyes a bit, made you think, made you connect to the world today and how people are still threatened like this, and how knowledge is too powerful. For example, like in the Middle East and stuff like that, how women are not allowed to go to school and not allowed to read books and not allowed to educate themselves because the males in that area think that's too much knowledge, which is too much power. So I don't know. It's interesting to think about, especially how today is International Women's Day. The book kind of reminded me of it, and I don't know. I thought it was good. I'd recommend this to anybody who likes a good story, a classic, nonfiction, and something that makes you connect with other thoughts and ideas in the world. I'd recommend this book, Fahrenheit 451.